Good afternoon. My name is Joe O'Hara. This is FTH202 week 3 assignment. Today is November 14, 2024. And today we're going to kind of go over some parts on the firearm. First things first, need to show you that the firearm is clear and safe. So we're going to open up that cylinder. All right, so as you can see down inside there, nice and clear, safe, nothing inside here, everything nice and empty. All right, next thing we're going to do, I already removed the pin that holds on to the grip, so pulled that off, and now we're going to remove our handle. And again, you want to set everything off to the side to make it nice and easy, you know, as you put everything back together as well. All right, so next thing we're going to do is we are going to remove this plate here. To do that, you want to get a screwdriver. We're going to pull out these screws. Make sure that it's a screwdriver that fits into that area and you're not marring up the side of the firearm or anything like that. And then place these screws off to the side in a orientating way that you can remember how you removed them, so you put the right ones back in the right positions, because there are certain screws that are different sizes and you don't want to put the wrong screw in the wrong area and possibly ruin something, strip out a thread, something like that. So just make sure that you do that. This last screw, it's a little bit larger. There is a small pin in there with a spring. Make sure you do not lose those, all right, because that'll be a major loss later on. To get the side plate off, we're going to take the wooden part of our hammer, and we're going to tap on the frame of our firearm right here. Okay, and as you tap it, that shock from you hitting it, it's going to cause it to lift off, as you can see right here, starting to lift. And you to do that, it just makes so you don't have to pry anything off, because if you're prying on something, you could possibly damage it later on. See, there you go, nice and separated. All right, and all right, so part one, according to our understandings of cycle of operation within the revolver platform, what malfunctions will we occur if the following parts become damaged or broken? The first one is the hand. Now, the hand is this part right here, okay? And as you cock the firearm to fire, right? So this is a double action. So if I was to pull the trigger or to pull the hammer back, as you can see, it's moving in the up position, all right? And if you look here on the inside, see if I can kind of angle that towards you. If you look in the inside, that piece right here, all right, you're going to see a piece right there in that slot that's going to start to push out and move up. That's your hand, and that's what pushes up against your sprocket on your cylinder, causing your cylinder to rotate into the next position. If that was to break or become damaged, your cylinder wouldn't rotate properly. So if that was become damaged or broken, when I go to engage my hammer, my cylinder wouldn't move, or it wouldn't I would have to manually spin it to the next position, you know, because my hand is no longer hitting that sprocket and moving it. And then it's possibly my alignment could be off. And so when I squeeze that trigger to fire that round, the round is not perfectly aligned with the barrel and can cause damage to the person or to the firearm itself. Next one was the sear. So the sear is this little area right here. All right, if you can see. Okay, and it's very small. And what the sear does is that what keeps the hammer in the cock position. So when I fully engage that hammer, that sear clips in and keeps the hammer, as you can see right here. All right, so this little lever here is keeping that hammer in that cock position right here. So if that was to become damaged or broken, my hammer would no longer stay in that position. So I could pull the trigger, but or I could pull that hammer all the way back, you know, on a single action. But if that sear isn't there, as soon as I let go, it's going to slam forward, firing that round, and you don't want that. The next one is the cylinder stop. So the cylinder stop, if you look right here, okay, there you see this little bump, okay, right here. That is your cylinder stop. Also, if you look right here on the inside, this little area right here, that's your cylinder stop. When you engage that hammer to rotate, okay, that's what stops your cylinder from moving. It'll drop down a little bit, and then see, as my trigger moves to the rear, it drops it down a little bit to where I can spin my cylinder. As soon as I release, it stops. Okay, so here it's in the lock position. It's all the way up. It's not allowing my cylinder to move. All right, if that was to become damaged, then my cylinder would not stop. It would just keep spinning like this, right? And that could be a bad thing, because here I'm not aligned, and it's going to cause a misfire or possibly misalignment and causing damage to the firearm or the shooter itself if a round does go off and it's not perfectly aligned with that barrel. Okay, last one was the hammer strut. This here is the, want to say, all right, so the next one was the hammer strut, and that's this mechanism right here. So as you see, here, I'll give you, so this here is the hammer strut and the hammer strut spring. So when I pull back on that hammer, it's putting a lot of force down onto that strut, right? So when I release that strut, it's going to force all that, it's going to push all that force up and cause that hammer to slam forward into the primer and firing off that next round. If that becomes damaged, you're not going to get enough force to push that hammer up into the primer properly, all right? And it can cause either a hang fire, so like it hits it, but there's like a slow burn to where it doesn't fire off right away like you want to, or it could cause a misfire because it didn't have enough inertia to actually hit that primer properly, causing it to ignite the powder and fire off that round. So, yep, those are the 4 areas and conditions that could possibly go wrong if any one of those parts are damaged. All right, so here we're going to go over how to measure out your rate of twist with inside your barrel. First thing you want to do is you want to get a cleaning rod, a free spinning cleaning rod. See, as you can see, it spins freely. And you're going to put a piece of tape on it as a flag. All right, that flag is going to be like your indicator of how much twist you have. Next thing you're going to do is you put on the punch tip. All right, so regular punch tip, and then at the very top where that flag is pointing, I made a mark with a silver Sharpie. Okay, so next thing I want to do is I want to take a patch, and I'm going to place that on the punch, and we're going to insert that into the firearm. All right, make sure our flag is at the top along with our first mark, and only holding on to the back. You don't want to hold on to the rod at all. You're going to push that in. As you push it in, that patch is going to grip onto the riflings and start to spin it. As you can, I'm not sure if you could see, right? But if you watch that flag, right? See how it started to spin a little bit? Now, once you get it all the way to the back, you're going to take your Sharpie and you're going to make another mark, okay? So here you want to make it at the very top, make another mark, all right, stating where you ended at. Now, it didn't move very far because this is a very short barrel, okay? So now you got to pull that out. Be careful, sometimes your patch will stay inside your cylinder, so you might have to open it up, pull that patch out. So now, as you can see, like here's my first mark right here, and then that's my second mark right there. Didn't move very much, maybe 1/8 of an inch, right? So now we have to do a little bit of math. According to the lecture, our math was let me scroll down here, get into our lecture here. So now we want to measure that out, and I have a nice little ruler I like to use for this. So it's nice little 6-inch ruler, kind of works perfect just for little things like this. And I want to lay that down on a flat piece of counter here. Here we go. And we are at about 2 inches. So it's a 4-inch barrel, okay? And at the start, so situation 2 marks should not be the same side, and we're going to measure in between the 2 marks here. So we have about 1 3/4 inch. Okay, so now take into account measure distance between 2 marks, give 1 rotation of riflings. So now we have inches times the 1/8, so it only moved like 1/8 of an inch. All right, so that was 1 inch. All right, so after measuring everything, so it measured about 2 inches and it only moved 1/8 of an inch around. So according to our math, that is 1/16 of an inch twist, right? So it's very, very small, not a lot. And the lecture kind of did it for us because I guess it automatically knew what firearm we were going to be using. All right, but that's how you would measure your rate of twist. Last thing, I like to put in my references. I referenced the lectures from last week and this week for this week's assignment. Thank you and have a great week.